It's our team focus.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So we are talking New Orleans Saints with Jack Doles, Jarrett Payton. I'm JB Biunno. Here's what we're talking about, guys. If you're joining us from Louisiana, if you're joining us from the southeastern United States, if you are a big New Orleans Saints fan, you're just thinking, what gives? When is it going to be time for Drew Brees to get that final ring right off into the sunset? Guys, we've been talking about this a little bit off stream, but they might be a piece or two away. If you're Drew Brees, if you're a New Orleans Saints fan, what is on your wish list this offseason to get Drew Brees back to the promised land? Super Bowl 55 in Tampa next year, where I'm from. What do the Saints need to get to Tampa next year?
I think they need one thing, Jarrett. Luck.
Just
a little bit of luck.
Yeah, they haven't had any luck.
Andrew Luck?
No.
No.
I'm with you, Jack. I think they need luck, but I think, number one, they got to figure out the situation with Drew Brees.
Right.
And I think that's probably the number one focus for this organization is figuring out with Drew, what does Drew want to do? What is that going to cost? He's made a lot of money throughout his NFL career. Is it really money that he's looking for, or is he at that point where I think over the last few years of being so close and needing some luck, he understands that there's pieces around this organization they have to get better. They need another wide receiver, a number 2 receiver. Can they get that? I feel like they've always had receivers, but not Michael Thomas, not that number 1 guy. They have that. Now you need a number 2. Can they figure that out? Because offensively, they got to get better at that position.
Yeah, Michael Thomas is the best receiver on the planet
I'm saying,
right now.
so
Unbelievable.
You need a number 2 to be able to coincide
guy.
with him.
Maybe one of those marquee tight ends that you're seeing in the Super Bowl this week.
Yeah.
Kittle and with Kelsey.
Every team needs one of those. Every team needs one. I mean, you got to have a tight end because it's so prominent in all these offenses, and we've seen it in this Andy Reid scheme of how big that tight end is, not just in the passing game, but also as a blocker as well.
So when the general manager sits down with Drew Brees, is he going to walk in there and say, "Can you give us a Tom Brady discount?" Or is he going to offer him the house to stay?
I don't think you can offer him the house. If you want to be competitive and you want to get over this hump that you've been on the last 2 seasons of trying to get to the promised land, Drew's not getting any younger. He's got to understand, too, there's money to be spent around this organization to get better, that he's going to have to maybe not take he's going to have to give a hometown discount.
Yeah.
Even though he probably shouldn't, he's probably going to have to.
Well, he's made a lot of money in his career. Yeah. I see him in those untucked commercials, right? You guys see him walking down the street with his untucked shirt, and I don't think that he's hurting for cash.
No.
What matters more to him at this stage in his career, championship or money? So at that point, don't you want to work with the organization to get something done?
Yes.
Can the GM ask him that? Or does the player have to basically kind of come forward and say, I'm willing to take less?
I think both sides kind of know what the deal is, and as Drew is being the guy that's been to the promised land and it has hosted a Lombardi trophy, he knows what that means. Just having one is okay. Drew is one of those players in the NFL that deserves multiple championships, and I think he understands that. I think he gets it. I think it's a conversation. They come in and they're both sit at the table and say, "Listen, we know what we got to do. This is what we have. This is what we need to fill." Drew, you know what the time is. Can we come together put together a nice little deal, keep you here, and also give you some more weapons that are going to make you more successful?
How many years? How many more years we get at Drew Brees? He's getting what is he? 38? I'm the stats guy. I'm supposed to know these numbers, you guys. I'm letting us down.
I thought he's 40.
Oh, man, see?
If I'm not mistaken.
He's so youthful that he makes me – no, he's 41. He just turned 41 in January. He feels 38 to me.
JP
JP to JB, I don't know.
Long term? We talking 2-3 years?
I think that he's got 2 more left. 2 more. What do you think?
I think the condition he keeps himself, he can –
He's not doing it for less than a 3-year deal, man. It's not happening. So that's where I'm talking about the money has to be structured right, because by that 3rd year, you're planning on that 3rd year of that contract to be maybe that down year where he's on his way out. And let's not forget about this.
Yep.
Teddy Bridgewater as well.
Oh, yeah. What do you do with Teddy?
He's going to command some money. I mean, the conversations around the league after what he did filling in for Drew Brees, there's going to be a demand for him. So you're not going to be able to keep him. So not only do you need to sign your franchise quarterback and figure out a deal there, you're also going to have to figure out a backup quarterback as well for long term.
And it's not – and Taysom Hill, I want to go there. What is Taysom Hill? If you had to –
I don't see it.
Where is he on the depth chart? That's the fun question about that. But
he's unbelievable. When you talk about football player, you want to go back to the days of Red Grange and all that stuff. Of the guy that can do everything. He's one of those guys.
Yep.
Is he your everyday down quarterback? The league is going that way with guys that are mobile and that can throw and do multiple things.
For my bosses watching, I'm like the Taysom Hill of Nexstar. I do it all, okay? I hit the buttons here. Oh, hey, look, let's go to the good-looking guys over here. I can hit that button, and there they are. Love Taysom Hill.
Would you be more effective as an anchor or that all-utility guy? So would Taysom Hill be better as a full-time quarterback or in the kind of role that he is now?
The role that he's in now, I think, gives you – the opportunity to have that surprise. There's a surprise element to that when he's in the game where it's like that teams have to game plan for that into their studying. I think you've got to have a franchise quarterback. Go get one, whether that's in the draft or what they're going to do long term. I can't tell you that. But to not have – to think about Drew Brees and think about Teddy Bridgewater, that's a luxury of having a guy like Teddy if something happens to your quarterback like Drew, and we saw that this past season of having a guy like that can fill in the role while your main guy's out.
Did Teddy do enough for he convinced another NFL team that this is our guy?
Yes, because he convinced me watching him in Chicago.
There are a lot of teams out there that could listen. Chicago Bears.
Thank you. That was one of the things I was saying during the season. Why not? I mean, try to figure it out. This could be a guy. This man started – he was a starting quarterback. Injury happened. Things change a little bit. But he's worked himself back into that conversation. And there's multiple teams out there, Jack, that I think are thinking about, man, this guy could be that guy. He's still young enough. He still looks – we've seen that he has the juice. Let's give him an opportunity. Let's give him a shot.
Alvin Kamara, unbelievable player. But he was nowhere near the impact player he was when he had Ingram in that back.
Oh, those fantasy football players. They were a little disappointed with their first-round selection in Alvin Kamara.
So do you see them going and grabbing a kind of a power back to complement him the way that he was when he had Ingram there?
They'd be doing themselves a disservice if they did it, because now teams were able to game plan against what he does so well. But when you can switch it up and you have two running backs that you don't know that have different skill sets, it's hard to game plan for that. In the NFL, Jack, week in and week out, once the season gets going, you don't have that much time to break down film. You're going from one team to the next team to the next team. That's what gives him that little bit of a surprise when you have these guys, because it's hard during your week to find guys that can run like both of them, to game plan for both of them. If you have that other guy, it changes up the dynamics of your offense.
And I want to point out, I think they miss Mark Ingram. I think that he brought a grit to that team that they sorely needed, right? So if the Baltimore Ravens last year, I mean, Mark Ingram, I think he missed some time with some injuries, but they had an edge, right? And I think maybe the Saints are missing that edge where they are right now as an offensive team.